thank you all for coming. The goal today is just to kind of answer questions, general questions around homeschooling. You have me, Jay, you have my wife, my beautiful wife, Jen, over here next to me. And we have the kids, Jack and Isabel are on the call as well. And so if you ever have any questions for the kids, feel free to ask them directly. They probably have better answers than we do. And again, any questions you have, we'd love to cover them on this call. I was talking to Jen this morning about kind of how we started homeschooling. And it was funny because I totally forgot how it actually, why and how we did it. So I'll let Jen just start kind of tell you a little bit about the story of how we got started. And then we'll go around and just ask you guys kind of where you are, which, how many kids and so forth. So I'll let Jen start first.
Oh, okay. Hi, I'm Jen. I taught public school for 13 years and had every intention of sending my kids to public school. My kids went to a great Montessori preschool. They learned a lot. And we even moved into a neighborhood so that our kids would have the top 10 tech school, brand new school. And in 2019, when it was time for our oldest to start public school, we realized that the school was not going to meet our kids' needs. And mostly it was because I had been teaching her at home and she was really advanced, and we had gone to see the kindergarten room, and she could do everything and they wouldn't advance her because of her age. And so I called Jay and I said, I think we're going to have to homeschool her. He said, okay, that's fine. And then, so in 2019, when that school year started in September, we started homeschooling her, and Jack was still going to a preschool. And then COVID hit and we were already homeschooling. So we pulled him out and we started homeschooling him. And then we realized that we could move to Hawaii and no one could do anything about it, or we could move anywhere we wanted. We could travel anywhere we wanted. We could teach them at whatever grade level they were at for every individual subject. And so we just never looked back, and we have no intention of sending our kids to school ever.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because when Jack was in that preschool, he was in a fully immersive Mandarin Chinese class, and he was doing really well. That's one of the things that I kind of I miss about him being in that school, because he was doing really well in that school. But yeah, so we decided it started out actually as us saying, okay, let's just wait maybe a few years and then test Isabel, and then they'll be able to she can be able to jump classes, because they won't let her jump in kinder. And then so we never actually COVID kind of forced our hand, and we never went back. So we'll talk about our schedule and so forth, but I want to go around and just ask, just come in, just say your name, where you are, how many kids you have, and why are you interested in homeschooling, or whether you're doing homeschooling already. You can jump in.
Yeah, so I'll jump in. My name is Chris Jones, and my wife on the call is Brittany. And we have 5 kids. Oldest is 12, 10, 7, 5, and 3. And we're interested in homeschooling. We love to travel, and so we're actually going to go live in Thailand for a year, starting in we're going to basically start in October. So we've done mixes of homeschooling. During COVID it was all a mess, but we're looking forward to homeschooling over the next year.
That's awesome.
Where
you guys are at now?
We're in Portland, Oregon right now, but we're kind of packing up and moving out here pretty soon.
Nice, awesome. Thank you. All right, Jeremy, okay. Go ahead, Natalia.
Hi, my name is Natalie. I have 2 kids. One of them is Anya. She's 12 and she's supposed to go to 7th grade right now. And this little guy, Christopher. Well, he's supposed to go to kindergarten this year, but he's diabetic, and I'm really scared to put him in a public school. That's why I thought maybe it will be a great idea to put him in a homeschooling. And also, Anna, we're supposed to move this year. I don't want to skip school, there's all this process to change one school into another. And I thought maybe we can try homeschooling for this year, and after we will see how will it go. This is our story.
That's awesome.
I'll go.
Go ahead, Larry.
Larry, my wife Zhang, baby
Hi.
Zuri, she's 2 years old. We're early in the journey. We just want to learn. And yeah, we're out here in the West Coast, Orange County.
Nice.
All right.
That's awesome. We came from Orange County.
I was born and raised in Santa Ana, so.
Oh, nice.
All right. Jeremy.
All right, we got Jeremy and my wife Heidi. We got 4 kids, 9, 7, 5, and 3. This is our second year kicking off homeschooling. We did acting academy before that and public school before that, so we feel like we're just kind of moving down the co-abundance train and still trying to figure it out. And so we don't feel like we're experts and just interested in how people are doing it. We're here in Dallas.
That's awesome. Cool. Joseph.
Hey, how's it going? My wife is Elizabeth. She's on the call as well. We've got 6 kids, aged 18 down to 1, about to be 2. I was homeschooled myself for a significant amount of my childhood, and we are looking at getting back into homeschooling this year full time. We've done hybrid. They've been to private school. We've done full homeschool before, and so we're just kind of excited to chat with other people. You know, now that we're business owner, I say now that we're business owners, we've been doing this for a little while, but you know, looking at integrating our kids into our business and our life and traveling and doing a lot more with the opportunities that we've been afforded with, you know, running this business and starting a farm and doing that kind of stuff. So we're just we're excited about how, you know, about the opportunities in the future and just seeing how other people are doing it. You know,
That's awesome. Where are you out of?
Southern Pines, North Carolina.
North Carolina. Okay. Mary?
Oh, we can't hear you.
You can't. I think you're on mute.
Better now?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hi, it's nice to see you guys again. So I'm Marie Helen, and my husband is Ludwig.
Oh,
I
we
don't know
know
if he's
you.
on the call, but he encouraged me to come to this session. We've been talking a lot about homeschooling. We've been hearing a lot about homeschooling. We've got 2 children. They're 12 and 9, so a little bit older, but we've been really interested in homeschooling for a few reasons. The flexibility factor is definitely number one. And then the other thing is, you know, just looking at the opportunity to focus on individual progression as opposed to like the mold of what school requires you to do is something that we've been just really leaning into in many ways. So being part of this community, and thanks so much to both of you for putting this call together, because I think it's just great to learn about the different experiences that everybody has about homeschooling and see how we can potentially explore it for ourselves as well.
That's awesome. And where are you out of?
So we're in Orlando.
Orlando. Nice.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. Well, cool. So one of the biggest questions that we got was kind of like the schedule. You know, what is your schedule like? What is the, you know, what does your process look like? So I'll start with, you know, let's have the kids talk about it. All right, Isabel, why don't you tell us what your schedule is like?
So first we wake up in the morning, and then we have breakfast, and for like an hour and a half, we sit outside in the
What time do you
backyard.
wake up?
We wake up at 7 p.m.
Okay.
and then we have 7 a.m. and then we have breakfast, and then we go for an hour and a half outside in the backyard with our dad and just sit and talk, and then we come back.
What do we
inside.
talk about?
Literally everything: business, school, how to make friends, you name it. And then we come back inside, we get ready, and then we start school at 9 p.m. We do math, writing, language arts, social studies, science, and then I do Spanish from 12 to 12:45 with a Zoom meet with a lady who's from Chile, but she goes around the world, and she teaches me 3 times a week, an hour, 3 hours a week, and then I do a Zoom meet with her, and she teaches me Spanish. And then afterwards, we eat lunch, we do our chores, and then we get on our computers. And then we are both starting businesses. So we just do our business, learn new things, and then we go to sports, swimming and jiu-jitsu at 5 o'clock to 6. and then we come home and we go to bed at 8.
Very nice. Any questions about schedules?
Jay, are you guys
I have a question. Go ahead.
Are you, Jay, what kind of curriculum are you guys using? Are you pretty strict on following that day to day, or how does that look like throughout the week when it comes to that schedule?
So we school fully 4 days a week, and then I'm a non-negotiable with math. We never break for math. And so Wednesdays we have a homeschool group it's just a play date. So we do math for an hour, and then we'll go meet up for maybe 3 hours just so they can play with their friends. But yeah, we do the same thing just about every day from 9 to 1.
And what curriculum are you guys using?
Both the kids use different curriculum because they have different needs. So, I mean, I can maybe just make a list for you guys because there's so many. And of course, as their needs change, the curriculum changes. So obviously, when they were learning how to read, it's going to be a different
What
curriculum.
are you using right now?
So for math, for elementary school, we use Dimensions. Then we use Mammoth Math. Isabel's started algebra, so she was doing art of problem solving. And we're doing Saxon now because it became a little overwhelming for us for algebra. And then Jack did Dimensions, and now he's doing Math Mammoth. He's just finishing up 6th grade, and he'll start 7th grade Math Mammoth probably in about a month for math. And then we do IEW for writing. We do Moving Beyond the Page for Isabel for language arts, social studies, science. Jack, we do all about spelling, and we do a bunch of like kind of grammar workbooks and things like that. With him, he gets to pick a novel, we read it, and we do comprehension, vocabulary, things like that, fluency. That's what we work on with him because he's still in elementary school.
And how do you pick, like for the people who are starting out, like how would they like start figuring out what subjects and then what curriculum to take?
Okay, so if you go on your state's education website, your state should have something with their education, and there should be for every grade level and every subject what the child is expected to know in public school at the end of the grade. So that's a framework, and you can base curriculum off of that. There's a great website, Kathy Duffy Reviews. And if you go on to Kathy Duffy, it's at CATHY Duffy. And she has done all the work for you. She has reviewed extensively just about every curriculum out there. And if you go there, you can pick her top. She has like a top 100 or something. And you can just go and literally pick one of those, order it, and start.
I just put the link to that website where you can go find pretty much all the curriculum. So essentially you start with the framework of whatever state you're in, and then you use the curriculum. In the beginning, if you're starting out, like for example, Larry just starting out, you just pick the best one that shows up. And then the first 2-3 years, you can't go any wrong. You can't do no wrong. You're going to be your kid's going to be so much ahead of all the kids in school. And as you're doing this with your kid, you're going to learn their patterns and where they're strong and where they need more help. And then you can adjust your kind of like curation of the curriculum as you go. But in the beginning, you really don't have to sweat it. Just pick the best one that shows up in there and then go for it.
I have a couple questions about the schedule. Just back
please.
to that.
Please, yeah.
So how long do you think it took for you to like make the schedule kind of, it sounds like it's very precise, like every day you're doing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
How many days or weeks or months did it take doing that over and over before it became easy? Because I've never hit it yet.
Yeah. So when my kids were little, we were maybe an hour a day. So I mean, we've never like I have a junior higher, so we're not we're getting serious now. And she's taking high school classes. So we're getting serious, and that's really why we take as long as we do. And I personally would like to take more because I think I want more, but I'm okay with what we've got. So when they're, kindergarten, first, second grade, I mean, you are just focusing on reading, phonics, right? And maybe learning how to write your letters, and math. And so that doesn't really take that long. And so for us, it's really just being disciplined. This is what we do every day. There's no complaints anymore. I mean, there maybe was, but I mean, we're pretty strict, I think, as far as, just since they were little, like, just this is what we do. We go to bed at 8, we get up at 7. Like, we're not, and so you set high expectations, and then, you can't leave the table until you finish this, right? So that's kind of like has been our philosophy.
And it started light, like
It's
she said,
very
an
light.
hour light, and then
We'd
you
be
just
like
go
15
expand.
minutes a day in preschool, like, okay, let's practice this letter sound, right? So,
And then a follow-up question is, if you travel, because we're going to be traveling a lot, do you make adjustments, or how do you just pause while you're traveling? Do you take it with you? What do you do?
we've tried to take it with us, and it just doesn't work. So we school through the summer. We don't take any breaks. We don't get Martin Luther King or whatever holidays that the public schools get. My kids are in school, but it's only a few hours. So they don't, so they have been at school every day this summer. If we're going on a trip for a month in October, we'll be gone all of October. I'm not going to bring anything with me because they don't get those breaks. Maybe we take a week at Christmas. They get Thanksgiving and Black Friday because that's one of my favorite holidays. And, but we just plow through. We just keep going because I don't want them to miss, especially in math, right? Like, I just don't want them to get behind or forget. So we do not, because I feel like, so in school, you have to be in school 180 days. That's just a federal thing for every state. It's 180 days. I assure you, we do probably more than 180 days.
Yeah,
but we don't
way more.
count.
Yeah,
We don't count. You
just don't stop. They don't have
don't
any
stop.
like, unless we're out on vacation, they're on vacation. But if there's a holiday or whatever, it's not
doesn't affect
relevant.
us.
It's not relevant to us. Kids can be on vacation. It's not relevant to us. When you're traveling, if you're traveling a long distance, like for a long time, if you're doing like a year trip, then you essentially have to treat it just like you're at home. And you're probably going to do your schooling in the morning, between 9 and 12, or 9 and 11. Even if it's just 2 hours where you do your math, you hit your math and you hit your English, your reading, and then you go enjoy your day. If you're living somewhere for a whole year, you're not gonna be vacation mode every day. I mean, you're going here,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
you're
your
gonna be
life,
like living
right?
like a normal life.
Yeah.
But if you're traveling for, let's say, a month, I think a month is fine. They take their books with them. They can do a little bit of math here and there. It's not necessarily. Well, we went to Morocco. We did Spain a couple of years ago. We went out for like a couple of months. They would go on long rides, and then they'll bring their books out and they do their math and do their stuff and their reading. Yeah, and it was just during when we were actually
Driving.
traveling between locations or driving, but it wasn't very strict during the trip. But when we were in Hawaii, we lived like a normal day.
Yeah.
They wake up, same time, have breakfast, sit outside with me, have conversations, go at 9 to school, finish at 11 or 12, and then do their fun things in the afternoon, the rest of the day.
Thanks.
Anytime. Any other questions?
I have a question about the schedule still.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's kind of same. I'm afraid what you're going to tell me is you're just really disciplined, but are there any habits or anything that you guys put in place that really help you stick to the schedule where everybody understands, like, just like key things that trigger, like, we're moving from this point of our day to the next part of our day, where it just happens more naturally, and it's not because I have 5 kids, so
Mhm.
it's a lot of wrangling. I feel like
I think if you get the sleeping right, I think
Yeah.
if you get the going to bed schedule right and you're strict about it, and there's no if but about it, I think everything else takes care of itself. If they go to bed same time every day, and they wake up in general, I mean, in our case, Isabel wakes up earlier than Jack. Jack maybe wake up at 7:30. Isabel will wake up at 7. It's not a big deal, but they come in, they do they make their own breakfast, they do their. So I think the going to bed cadence is what sets the next day.
cool. Thank you.
Anytime.
Well, I'll
And
say,
tell
like,
us-
can I just
okay.
say, like, it's like, I feel like the multi-age, like, it's like teaching a combo class, and you just have to do it enough so the kids know what to expect. I taught like a K1 combo one time, and I had 4-year-olds, 5 and 6, and so these little guys, they couldn't do anything, and they're, and so like, oh, like, you go play with blocks and then I'll teach these kids, and then we'll do, you really do, you're going to have to write it out and figure out how you're going to do this grouping, or you will go insane. You cannot teach that many grade levels. So you may need to, the older kids, you're going to have to group together and try to get them independent, right? So that you're not doing the heavy lifting for them. My 12-year-old now she can follow her own curriculum. I just give her the teacher's guide, and I'm like, all right, show me what you did in the next hour so I can work with Jack. But it's been a lot of time to get to that point. So
Chris?
Jennifer, I have a question to you. As far as I understand, I do not understand how your teaching process go. Do you need to stay next to your kids during their classes, or they are just next to their computers, do their stuff, and you just control after the lesson if they understood everything correctly?
no, so my kids don't have their own desks. We sit at an oval table, and I got my little rolly chair, and I roll between them, and they start with math, and so I'll work with her, make sure she understands the lesson, and then I'm over here working with him. So I'm back and forth for everything, and she's doing a hard, like, IW is pretty difficult, so I'll do those videos with her, and I'll show her how to take the notes, right? Because I want her to understand, like, this is this is what you have to be able to do. And then I'll sit over with him. So it is for when she's reading her novel, whatever novel she's reading, and then she's answering questions, she can go do that by herself. I don't need to see that. But yeah, I'm juggling all morning. I'm back and forth. I just forth between them. So I try not to put them online too much unless I'm sitting with them, because they're not going to, they're just going to try to not do the work, or they're going to do the minimum. So you have to make sure you're keeping your kids accountable. You've got to look at exactly what they did each day, or sit with them until they get comfortable doing whatever platform you're using for whatever. And then, you can trust them, but still you really have to keep the kids accountable.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Chris, you had a question?
Yeah, I wondered if you could speak to the bedtime schedule and how you're able to be so consistent there. I think that's definitely one thing we struggle with, is sometimes bedtime's at like 7:30 and sometimes it's at 10:30. And it makes for a wreck the next day. You're totally right. So, and any tips would be appreciated.
Jack, you have any tips? You're on mute, Jack.
So you just go, so you have like a time thing, like you eat dinner at 6, you get ready for bed at 6:30, you read from 7 to 8, and then at 8 lights out, and then you just go to sleep. Always.
Easy.
Make it sound so simple. I love it, Jack. Thank you for that.
That's it. Just do that. No.
Just do that. How about you, Isabel? Any advice, Isabel?
I say don't give them a choice.
There you go. Don't give them a choice.
Yeah, we just
Take away stuff.
This has been years, though. I mean, when Isabel was little and she got out of her crib, I mean, we'd put the gate in there and she would break the gate down. So then we got the door monkey, and she was basically locked in her room. And then she would just turn the lights on. So Jay would turn the breaker off. I mean, we had a fight to get the, it was like, and she couldn't turn her lights on. So we had to show him who was boss. She was like 3 years old, and she would just be so mad. And well, if you want to be able to turn your lights on, then you have to go to bed. And so we had to get strict, and you just get strict when they're little, and then they know, like, okay, we don't mess with daddy, especially, right?
Yeah, just terror.
Yeah, you just have to be.
It doesn't take a lot. I mean, it's just being strict and being on it every day and not allowing any like excuses or exceptions or anything. And it's hard in the beginning, but eventually kind of gets easy. And they get into the flow and it becomes more comfortable for them. And, they get sleepy at the same time every day. And that's just how it goes. But it's got to be tough in the beginning.
Great. Thank you.
So
Go ahead.
My question would be, if you have like your older kids and you guys said you do sports in the afternoons, would you just say like, we won't do any sports that meant we were going to out after 6 to 8? Because when you have older kids and then things just happen, now you have basketball practice till 6:37, and then you're having dinner, and then everything just starts bleeding.
Yeah, I will not do a sport that doesn't, like 6 o'clock is like, it better start at 6. And then my kids need to be home and showered. So we do have a sport that starts at 6:15 to 7:15, but it's really close, and my kids can get home. But we eat before, they shower, and their lights off. I mean, it may, like, I think last time maybe it was like 8:10, but I was like mad. I was like, you guys are taking too long.
Yeah, we just changed the jiu-jitsu gyms, and this new one, they end a little bit later than usual. So we're adjusting to that. But
then we try to find sports that start at 5. They do swimming from 5 to 6. And we just won't. And then we don't even like do anything like sports on the weekends. We try not to, unless it's like nothing really competitive at this point, because we just are not going to give up our certain times. Like she was going to do a volleyball team, but it was like, it's going to be Friday, and Friday is our date night. So don't mess with that. Right. Because mommy needs to go out.
Yeah.
So we're pretty strict on that. It has to be a sport that's during the week, or just like an hour on Saturday. But yeah.
In the beginning, did you have behavior issues, especially as it relates to transitioning from parent to parent and teacher?
I feel like when we say homeschool, I mean, homeschool is starting when they're born. I mean, so I was always their teacher. I mean, we'd put Jack to bed when he was like, and Isabel and I'd be in there doing Hooked on Phonics at night and doing little workbooks and stuff. So for us, there was never a transition. So I'm always their mom and I'm always their teacher. And so from the time they wake up until the time they go to bed, that's homeschool. So no matter where we are, like we're at the store, like they better, they're learning when they're at the store. We're comparing the price of shampoo, ooh, how much per ounce, and and like, oh, it's 10% off. Tell me, what is that, right? So like, I feel like it's always, especially like in the morning, they're getting life school with dad. I just do the academics, but that's just a tiny sliver of what homeschool is, right? It's a tiny sliver. The rest of the day, I mean, they can clean the whole house. I told my kids, I'm like, I could probably leave you guys home for a weekend and you guys would be fine. They could keep the whole house clean. They can cook. They make their breakfast and lunch. They are like really autonomous at this point.
Yeah, they do all the chores in the
everything.
house. And I mean, all the floor cleaning, backyard, front yard, laundry, dishes, everything.
Dusting.
Like they have schedule, they have set of tasks, and that's just what they do, part of their process. But yeah, education, essentially the teaching never ends. It's always there. You're always teaching. The education is always there. It never ends from the morning until all the way till night. once in a while at night, right before bed, if they're like done, and we'll probably put Shark Tank video or something, and then we'll start talking about what did the person do wrong in their pitch, and how did they not know their numbers, their margin. So that's entertainment and education at the same time. So Larry, what advice, tips do you suggest for 2-year-old to prepare? Yeah. So what's a 2-year-old to prepare for homeschool?
So hey, 2-year-olds, you need to be singing like you're an opera singer all day, every day. That's how your kids are going to learn. Your kids going to learn so much just singing. So just, get over yourself and get some CDs, and just like everywhere you go, sing. You can sing. Your kid will know how to skip count. Your kid's going to know how to do multiplication facts before she's 3, because you like music. That's what you're going to do. And I mean, Isabel was about 3 when she said, "Mommy, I want to learn how to read." And I was like, "All right, let's try it." And and she just took to it. That's her. And so I was like, I'm just going to get hooked on phonics. And so we just would do that for 10 minutes a day at night. And she'd be like, "Mommy, I want to learn my addition facts." Okay, well, let's do it. And so at 2, man, you can really get that brain on fire. I mean, this is the time right now.
Thank you.
Start music, skip counting, show her the monies. You can do all that stuff. She's gonna get it.
Did you introduce like other languages? Like we want her to learn Spanish.
We did not until they were older, but it's a good idea, because if your kid can learn a language before 5, I swear they just soak it in. So 5 years old, I mean, it gets hard. I'm just saying it gets harder. And this is like research I just remember from like teaching school. And we're like saying everything before 5, your kid's like a sponge. That's why when you speak 2 languages in the home, they just pick it up. So I would say go for it.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Jen and Jay, I had a question about something you talked about earlier on about the sort of like the mini pods that you put together, especially for Isabel, I think. Like, how did you put that together? Like, just the technicalities around it. How did you find that community? Like, how did you find the right fit? Like, tell us about that.
So my kids have never gone anywhere for school. Like, I don't do any drop-offs. I want them with me because I want to pick the curriculum. And usually if you do like a 2-day drop-off, you got a teacher there, they're teaching the kid, and they're picking the curriculum, and they're giving homework, and they're in charge of it. And that's what some people choose to do. We never went that route. But for us, so we live in we're in South Florida, and I can't even tell you, I've never lived anywhere with as many opportunities for homeschoolers. If you just go to your Facebook groups, you're going to find, especially you in Orlando, oh my gosh, that's even bigger than where we are. And so we are part of a bunch of different homeschool groups that they go on like every day. It seems like there's a field trip that we could go on if we wanted to. And so we'll go, we have kind of friends from different groups, but yeah, no, we've never done like a drop-off program. But you do need to make sure that you're intentional about the socialization. You've got to go and just go to these groups and meet people and be consistent. And that's where you're going to find your people.
Okay, so those groups for you guys, it was more in the context of socialization for your children.
Absolutely.
Gotcha. Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
How do you guys
Any other
see,
questions?
How do you and this is kind of for Isabel too, but how do you guys see it changing over the next couple of years? She's now turning 12, in middle school, looking at high school coming up. Do you see like a full course load, or do you see something else? Is there going to be an apprenticeship or a business? Like, what is the day going to look like as she gets closer and closer to, running out
I
of
don't
her
think
own?
it has to change.
Nothing's really going to change. So, she's starting 7th, but she's taking, so I'm trying to get her some of her high school classes out of the way right now. And so she, at any one time, she's taking 1 or 2 just to kind of check the boxes. In Florida, you can do, in fact, in Florida, when you're 11 years old, you can start dual enrolling in college. So as long as you have a few high school credits. So I don't know if we're going to go that route, but so right now that's what we're doing. We're just basically checking boxes just in case they decide they want to go to college.
Yeah, so it's interesting because we before that conversation that we did with Marcus around getting to college, our thought was we'll do a dual enrollment and they'll take the high school. She can take high school classes in college.
Yeah, instead of high school.
Instead of
just to
high.
check
So
off
we
the
thought it would
boxes.
be more valuable and she'll get more credit for it. But it seems like it doesn't matter. What matters are the AP classes and the AP tests as well as the SATs. So if the goal is to give her optionality, and again, we're not forcing anything. Our goal is to give her optionality. So later on, when she gets to the high school, whatever she decides to do, she can go whatever she wants. And so that kind of changed our mind around doing the dual enrollment. And so now we're like, okay, let's just focus on try to get her into AP classes, get a high score in the AP test, and do like a high SAT. Later on, once she gets to that level, she can do SAT and do a high score SAT. So that's kind of where our thinking with her. So, but schedule wise, whatever, it doesn't really matter. It could be the same.
Yeah, she's got to check the boxes. I mean, you just got to do that, right? Just to get through.
And as long as she's like strong in math, as long as she's strong in science, I think she's fine. Like reading, everything else she does well. She loves to read. So we're not worried about anything else except math and science. Those are the two that are really that we focus on. Everything else. The same thing when they were younger, we did the same things. Like, we don't care about anything else. Just focus on math and reading in the beginning. Now we're only doing math and science. We don't care about anything else. They can read everything else on their own, and they can learn that stuff on their own. So they can pick it up pretty quickly. I think homeschooling allows you that flexibility to focus on what's important and not really, bug down the kid and fluff. And if they're into something, absolutely follow their curiosity. But if they're not into art, there's no reason to like spend so much time trying to get them to be artistic.
Yeah, we don't do like any of the fluff. We're like anything in the curriculum that's like, oh, do this. I'm like, no, we're not doing that. Like, you guys want to do it after school? Like, we're here. Let's get through the curriculum. And again, our kids have so much time after school because we don't have video games. We don't do screens unless it's for school. And so they have all this time. And so that's when they can focus on that.
They can
stuff,
learn,
right?
and then also, they learn a lot. So right now, both of them know how to use Canva. They do a lot of graphic designs. They create stuff for me. I paid them $5 for like a graphic post or something. They do video editing. So Isabel will do a video short. I'll tell her, give her like a podcastic clip, and then she'll grab shorts, and she'll get $5. She'll send me an invoice and follow up with me to get paid. Until you get paid.
Yeah, she's like, she's starting her business, and she's trying. What is she trying to make for you? Some sort of a business plan?
Yeah, she's creating. Yeah, she's doing a forecast, the P&L, because she wants to borrow money to start this farmers market business, this strawberry chocolate business that we saw in England, and so she wants to start it here. Well, Isabel, why don't you talk about your business?
So I was inspired by an idea at the Borough Market in London, where it's this super viral chocolate strawberry stand where they take a cup of strawberries and they drizzle chocolate all over it, and then they sell it for like $10, and they make so much money. And so I thought, why not bring this idea to the US? So I came, and then I found a farmer's market near us, in a city near us called Boca Raton, and now I am very close to bringing it to market. I am selling the chocolate strawberry thing for $5, and then they can add toppings and whatever they want. And so I am very close to bringing it to market. But before I do, I need my dad to loan me $1,100. So I'm still doing the P&L so I can send it to him so he'll believe me, and then he'll give me the $1,100.
Any other questions around homeschooling, schedules, socialization?
Well, I have a question actually for both you, Jay and Jen, because it's definitely from your model. It's a lot on the parents, right?
Yeah.
The discipline. We're all humans. How do you guys stay really consistently on top of it? Because that's really my big takeaway from your experience here: the discipline, the consistency factor.
I don't know. I think it's just a habit. I think, again, I think because we started this early on, and again, it starts with sleeping. You know, if you have a good sleep schedule, and then you have a good meal schedule, and you limit the amount of like distractions and stuff, I think everything else kind of falls in place. So, what do you think?
I don't know. I mean, as far as school, you know, they have this stack of things that has to get done, and that's just what has to get done. And how long do you want to sit here? At least for school. And then again, the chore, you know, I mean, I think we don't really need to do much discipline anymore. I think when they were younger, I mean, we would take away things, right? Like they get an hour of TV on Saturday, an hour on Sunday. So, oh, that's going to get taken away. And that was just devastating. And so we don't have to do that very often anymore, because they know that, I mean, no one
It's
wants,
just a habit.
they don't want to mess with
I think
you.
it's just a habit. I think it becomes a habit. It's a little bit hard, you know, maybe the first maybe month. And then I think in general, kids, once they do something for a month, it just becomes a norm. And this is what we do.
That's
This is
just
just
what we
becomes,
do.
that's what we do. It's not but again, you have to be consistent. So you have to be, you know, like if you see it, you got to call it. There's no optionality. There's no excuse. It doesn't matter. The habit is more important than anything else. So staying consistent with certain things. I mean, we're not strict on everything. I mean, there are very few things that we're strict on. We no longer really have to be strict on now because the kids kind of got used to the process. But only few things that we're focused on that matter.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
I'm so impressed with how mature and composed Isabel is here, just talking with a dozen adults about her homeschool. Is there anything you guys have really tried to do to, you know, socialize her, you know, with a lot of adults, or did that just come naturally? I'm just curious if you guys have been intentional about that.
We haven't really been intentional, but you know, again, we go out to dinner with other couples and they will come with us. And the expectation is you sit there and you don't complain. We don't do phones, and figure it out. Don't complain. Don't talk unless someone talks to you. And since they were little, and they're used to it. And then again, when we go to see his family in Morocco, there's there's a lot of people. You know, you got to sit there for a long time and you have to be polite, you know, and you just, so I think they just learned how to do that because they just keep, like, you're not going anywhere. You just have to sit there, and they're used to talking to adults now.
I think the biggest thing for us was, you know, when we started going out to restaurants when they were very little, maybe 18 months to 2 years, is that, and they love to go out. So if you're going to go out with us and you're going to act out, you're going to be taken home.
Oh, he
and
does that.
So I did that with both of them, maybe a couple of times, where, you know, if you're chill, you know, we're good. We're going to have great dinner. We're going to have a good time. We're going to have ice cream afterward. Fantastic. If you start acting out, I'm going to pick you up, take you home. Jen and whoever is cool is going to stay, have their dinner and have their ice cream afterward. And so no, they don't want to miss that. So once that happened, once that routine of being, you know, okay at a restaurant and being able to be cool, then with other people, they're fine as well. And I mean, and I think we started doing these things around going out to,
they were
really
little.
early.
I remember we were at like a breakfast with Santa, and one of the kids acted out and didn't want to leave and was having a tantrum. So Jay just picked that child up and went to the car, and it was, that was it. And that happened. I mean, both kids had that happen several times. And then they were like, okay, well, if I want to have a good dinner and get ice cream, then I better,
Yeah. The other thing is that early on, I think Isabel was in the Girl Scouts, and so she got to kind of door knock and talk to strangers to ask them to buy Girl Scout cookies. And Jack was her helper, and he loved doing that. And then we used to do these things where we'll go to a farmer's market, and I'll tell Jack to go ask for something for free. And then he'll go and ask. So he felt like confident that people will give him stuff for free at the farmer's market, at a donut or something. And then, so we used to do these little things that essentially encourage the kids to talk to strangers. A lot of times I would actually, they want something, they want ice cream or they want something, and I'll give them my card and I'll let them go to the store on their own, grab it, pay, figure it out. They didn't want it. They didn't want to do it, but then they did it.
5 years old, they would be.
Yeah. I think we had like one where they were like even younger than that, where we let them go to the walk from our neighborhood to grocery store, grab a baguette. And then we followed them from far. And they were like tiny. And then, so they literally did it. They went to the store and they got a baguette, they paid.
Just
they came out.
ordering their own food, making phone calls. So like, I'm like, hey, can you call Publix and see if they have something? And now they want to order a pizza. So they're fighting over who gets the phone to order the pizza. Like when I was a kid, there's no way I would call and order takeout. If we need something at the table, go up and ask for it. And so those were really scary things for them when they were little. And now that's just, I think it's confidence, that just builds from being forced to do things that they don't want to do. And so now they really feel confident. They can just go up to some worker at Walmart and be like, hey, where's the garlic? They're like, let me go ask Mom. And I'll be like, all right, I'm just going to hang out here. So,
yeah. So it's just giving them the opportunities to interact with adults and strangers, and that's about it. Any other questions?
Jack and Isabel, what's the best part of homeschooling for you guys?
I think it's the fact that we can go at our own pace, because in regular school, it's like everyone's catering to the lowest person, but here we're just doing as fast as we want. Like I'm doing high school level math. I'm doing all sorts of different things that I totally wouldn't be able to do if I was in normal school.
How about you, Jack? Where's Jack?
Jack,
I like the fact that we can do more school in less time than other kids at school.
I remember one time when we were in Hawaii, we would sit outside and we'll see the school bus. And then I think Jack was like 4 or 5, and he told me, man, I don't see myself waking up this early and getting on the bus.
Get up at 6 something.
I'll never get up on that. It was just by himself. I was laughing. I was like, I can't see myself getting up this early and getting on the bus. He likes his beauty sleep.
I have one question actually.
Yeah.
More advice, like thinking about current situation. And I think some of us in the call are like this, who maybe have done, different school experiences, not homeschooling yet, but in the context of a transition like this, right? From kids being accustomed to exactly what we're talking about, regular, going to school, going to a building, having teachers, blah, 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 to homeschooling. Like, what would you say is the biggest challenge in the face of that transition, in your opinions?
I would say you probably want to make sure that first, 30 to 90 days are like the best experience they've ever had. They need to kind of like, they need to tell you, Mom, I love this. I love homeschooling. I can't believe I haven't done it soon enough. And I tell you, the parents that I know who have done this have told me the same thing. Their kids have changed. They're much happier.
Mm-hmm.
They're less anxious. They're less stressed out. And they literally thank them. They thank their parents saying, thank you for doing this for me. because I'm much happier now with the way things are going. So I would say the first 90 days are going to be, I would say the first 30 days are going to be the key. Make that experience a very chill experience. Again, take your time, no rush. Don't try to do school at home. That's not what we're trying to do here. We're trying to educate the kids, but we're not bringing school inside the house. And I think that's a lot of the times the mistake that most people do is that they try to, it's like, oh, let's do the school schedule, the school curriculum, the school. No. Just focus on what's important, cut the waste, take your time. There's no rush. And then just, like really enjoy the process, immerse yourself with them in the process. Obviously, if you're doing it one-on-one or you're doing it with them, just, don't feel the pressure. I think a lot of it is on the parent. The parent has to be relaxed and not feeling any pressure of any expectation, and just follow your curiosity. Be curious in what the kids is curious about, and then take your time. And I think if you do that the first 30-90 days, you're going to see a big transformation, and then you're going to see like a major engagement and adoption by the kid, and it's and it's just going to flow from there.
I'll add, so that there's actually a process. It's called deschooling. And there's a lady who has a Facebook group. She's in Florida, but anybody could join. It's called Homeschooling Florida Style. And Cheryl Trasco is her name, and she's a former teacher, and she has 5 kids she homeschools. So she'll answer any question for you. And she has a whole process for that, about this deschooling, sort of like getting your kids out of that program of, I have to raise my hand to go to the bathroom, and I have to wait for the bell. And so she's probably she would be a really good resource to ask these kind of questions to, and you don't have to be in Florida to use her to ask questions.
This is the one?
Yeah.
I'm gonna share in the group.
I also wanted to chime in just for a second. We've done some homeschooling. We've done a little group pod during COVID with a bunch of other 3rd graders, and then we've gone back to public school. And now we're going to change back to homeschooling. And my soon-to-be 6th grade daughter, she said she was so excited to be homeschooling again, because then she doesn't have to listen to the other kids fight, or the teacher tell them for the 800th time to please sit down, please pay attention. Yeah. She's like, I'm so excited to just learn.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
That's something that kids love about it. And also, I have struggled with schedule, and after listening to you, and I know several of us were asking these questions over and over, what I'm getting from you guys is that I think I jump in too big. And I'm like, we're going to do all the things. I'm so excited to teach you. We're going to do art and math and science and all the things. And I think I need to transition this a little more slowly.
Yes.
And make the things shorter, and just establish the routine and keep it small enough, bite-sized enough that we can accomplish it and make it a routine, and then maybe start adding on. So
yeah,
and I don't know if that's helpful to anyone else, but that's what I'm gaining from being homeschooler, then school, then back to homeschool, and all my experience. So, and
focus on the 80-20. The 80% of the value is going to come from 20% of the material that you're going to teach. So if it's math, science, and English, or reading or whatever, that's it. Literally that's all they need. That's all they need to be good citizens, to be productive, to be, amazing human beings. So, and it's less stressful, less headache, less research, less work, less time.
Yeah, you can add stuff. So I would just start with math. That's non-negotiable. ELA, English Language Arts. And then for a month or 2, we're just doing this. It's not that much. All right, let's just do this. And then, okay, now we're going to add this thing, and let's add, and we add, and then until it looks the way we want it to look. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I thought we were gonna get more questions around socialization, but keep the questions coming.
So I have a question for you real quick.
Yeah.
So my wife is acting as integrator in our business right now. I'm the visionary. She's pretty involved. We're trying to back her out more. So she's taking off on Fridays and just trying to be in strategically. But, we are, one of the things we're wanting to do is get the kids more involved with just real life stuff, right? Like I started working at 14 when I was homeschooled, but you know, I did childhood acting and all, I mean, lots and lots and lots of different stuff. And so I'd like to be able to get the kids more into the business with just learning from, you know, different tradesmen. We build houses for a living. And so, you know, getting them working with the electricians or working here and there. You know, I was talking with a friend of mine this past week who also homeschooled her kids. She had 11 and she has 2 of them. They started out really young working in the business, and both of them are now, well, one of them's passed away. But the other one is, you know, but the bottom line was they both regretted being, you know, homeschooled. They both regretted being involved in the business. And it was very interesting. And so I'm like, you know, are your kids involved in your business? And do you guys have like, you know, what's that line of too much versus not enough? And, you know, I don't know. I guess your thoughts on that, because it sounds like they're running their own business. Which, by the way, Isabella, if you need an investor, I'll give you $1,200 for 25%.
There you go.
5%.
If your
Nice.
dad gives you a
Nice.
hard time about the loan or something, you just let me
I
know.
love that. I love that. No, I honestly, I think you just, I think you just follow their interest and curiosity. And I think in your business, I would, you know, whatever paperwork that you use, whatever plans, whatever, you know, calculators of like project calculators, you know, project management stuff, I would bring in, explain it. I don't know how old are you kids?
So the kids that are still in school are 12, 10, and 8. And then I've got a 4 and a 3-year-old.
Okay, the 12, 10, and 8 all can probably learn stuff. And I think if you spend some time with them, maybe like, you know, an hour or 30 minutes a day, maybe, and then just, you know, tell them about, you know, we actually talk about construction all the time. So we talk about like how, like, for example, our community was built. There was someone who had bought the land. That person went and got it licensed and got it, went to the planning division, got the stuff, went and raised money based on that. And we talk about those mechanics of how a community gets built, how it gets sold, the cost per square foot on everything. And I think you can start those kind of like, you know, top level conversations. You can bring stuff with you at home, and you can explain certain things, and then you see their interest. You know, out of the 3 kids, maybe one is more interested than the others, and then you just, you know, follow their interest. Maybe one of them loves the project management part, the other one loves the marketing part, one of them wants the sales part. And I think you just follow that, and that curiosity and that desire to learn. And, you know, one of them may want to make more money quicker than the other, and then giving them a chance to make money. For us, you know, like right now they're both doing social media stuff. They're both doing video editing. Jack is playing with AI tools to build like applications. He's working on this event website that once you explain, Jack will explain what you're working on. Which tool are you using?
I'm using this website creator called Lovable, and I'm trying to make a website where you put your email in, and it gives you notifications every Friday about events on the weekend.
Like all the local events.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think again, just following their curiosity, following what they want, I would say that's the way to pursue it. And I don't think you will feel forced if you do it that way.
I just say one thing. Again, with kids saying, "Oh, they didn't like homeschooling." For us, it's part of our family culture, and I think we try and strive really hard to make a specific culture in our family where my kids feel lucky that they get to homeschool. They feel like when we go, "Who has it better than you?" That when they start saying, "Oh, this person gets to have sleepovers, this person gets to stay up," and like, what is this, you know? And so we talk about that stuff. Our kids feel like super blessed that they can go to Morocco for a month, and they can go to England, and they can go to this event, and they, you know, and so when you make that's part of your family culture, they feel like, wow, I'm really lucky that I'm a Borgana. And, you know, so I think that's part of it. That's part of who we are. We're homeschoolers, you know, and we have our pillars. We're our health, wealth, and relationships. And we value those things, and our homeschooling helps us meet all those, values. So
Yeah. Final question, thoughts?
Thank you, guys.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Super helpful. Really
Yeah,
appreciate
feel
it.
free to reach out if you have any questions.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
guys.
Thank you,
Have a-
Bogdanas.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.